Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Hans Learning Solutions. This is Hansa here, your leadership coach, and today we're going to discuss about the Boeing mass job cuts. It's all happening. The news initially came out that Boeing employees were walking away from their jobs because of the fact that they were not having salary increases and pensions were not being paid to them. And as a result of which, Boeing was going to suffer a lot of losses. But the CEO has now come out with a statement. I'm going to quote it. So, according to this Bloomberg report, the workers have walked off the job after a large majority of them rejected a tentative contract. A Bloomberg intelligence analysis predicted Monday that Boeing could be out of 3.5 billion in cash by quarter three because of the strike continues through September. So since employees have just gone ahead and completely refused to work and there's now a strike to increase salaries, Boeing is not budging either, right? They are not going to provide any changes, looks like, as of now. And Boeing, the CEO itself, okay, Brian West himself came out and said that they're looking at doing some cost cuts. So they will not be, they're freezing hiring, they're not going to be hiring anybody. And it's such a lose situation, right? Because this can also affect now the consumer and the supply chain and the fact that the availability now of all aspects are going to be hit because of these changes and these things. Now, because of the hiring fees, they're not going to increase salaries. There's also been management promotions which are going to be stopped completely. Everything is on a standstill. And this is really scary to understand now that what's going to happen next, right? A quote: "We are planning to make significant reductions in supply expenditures, will stop issuing the majority of supply purchase orders, which airlines will be impacted." Right? This is going to be crazy. So, Bloomberg Intelligence stated that the airlines most affected are going to be Ryanair, Southwest, United, and Alaska. So these all are airlines expected to predominantly be the travel for the air travel in the US, especially. So here we go. That's going to be really interesting and really crazy. Employees have complained about the fact that they are working too many hours. And I think work life balance is very important. So if that's something that the management takes into account and starts being reasonable, asking them not to come too many hours and just sticking to the required hours, and maybe here and there showing flexibility to them, talking, having an open dialogue, communicating with the employees and saying, listen, we understand your frustration, we're sorry about it. A easier approach to try to negotiate with your employees, try to understand their problems, try to see how you can fix the problems, not completely stop everything from functioning and working, right? It's a lose-lose situation. Company's reputation is affected, the long-term career growth is affected. Every aspect of doing such an extreme step just kind of goes to every aspect and just destroys it, right? So if scenario, if you add to the negative scenario rather than finding a solution, you are encouraging your employees who are loyal to you also to start thinking about themselves, to start worrying about themselves, start worrying about their future and doubting if they should be investing, right? And they'll want to go out, want to just see what's outside the market. Is this worth it? So job security and instability is something nobody wants to experience, and it creates a lot of confusion, right? So to combat that, the best way is obviously to say, give them reassurance, provide them with some sort of training, some sort of support, having open dialogues and meetings with them, setting up one-to-one meetings, discussing whatever the issues are. And I think this is a time that the CEO and the leadership should start realizing that, okay, we cannot take extreme drastic steps. We should fall back. Let's release a press statement. Let's try to see how we can work around it. The fact that over 30,000 mechanists from the company walked off and said that they're not going to work is a huge worry. That's like a mass walk off, right? And it's not even mass layoff, it's a mass walk off, which is very troubling. It can literally crumple a company because production, everything goes into a standstill because you don't have anybody that's helping you or to the level that they expect it to be and being provided the basics. So I think this is a sign of how a big company, right? Boeing is like, if they can have that kind of chaos, madness happening, this is an underlining threat and frustration of what employees are feeling across whenever you work in toxic companies. When you have mass walk offs like this, it's an indication of how frustrated people are or how they feel it's just not worth it working there. Or you feel so rejected that you think that working in that environment is not worth it. right? That's the only time that you would have that kind of walkout numbers. And not being heard, I think, is the worst feeling working in any organization. And if you see any toxic organization, when you feel that management is not bothered about your well-being, they're not hearing you, they're not bothered about what you're doing, they don't check on you, this can be a detriment to any organization. And it's the first sign of a toxic organization. A leadership that doesn't really care about its people, it's only bothered about profits for themselves, profits for their shareholders, maybe, or for the respective parties that who need to benefit. They're not looking at the benefits of employees, right? Any organization you take in the world, any company you take, that the moment they don't value the employees, you will see a mass shift. You will see a huge shift where talent will move away from there. You will lose the talent, and you will then have lesser productive people, maybe, or lesser people who are not able to deliver what you really need. And then the productivity goes down for those companies. You'll see the profits go down for those companies. Everything takes a hit because it's a cultural shift. Toxic environments have a cultural shift, and eventually talent doesn't want to stay because they know that they can get better opportunities, or they want to go somewhere else. They don't want to put up with unreasonable things. So I think this is a testament. The Boeing example is a testament to the fact how important it is to have coaching and leadership and identifying how you can be productive, how you can work with your people, how you can solve problems versus sitting around and complaining or saying something negative or saying, no, it's not going to work for me and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. But having the can do attitude, or having an attitude of listening to your people and showing empathy. And I have said this so many times, empathy driven leadership is the right and the most important aspect of being a leader. You have to be empathy driven. And when I say empathy driven, I don't mean you need to start crying buckets if they're, your employees are going through a bad time, right? Sorry, I know that's a bit exaggeration. But what I mean is, it's not about being, when you say empathy, it's not about sitting around and just, asking about them, how they're doing and being their best friend. Empathy leadership is about getting results, focusing on what needs to get done, yes, but doing it with empathy, doing it with concern, showing flexibility, showing that you listen to them, listening to your employees, understanding their response, their problems, giving them more, a little bit flexibility, and then tightening up the wheel when you need to, asking them to help you when you need to, asking them to get into it, giving them constructive feedback when needed. All of that is actually intertwined with empathy driven leadership. So a lot of people think that empathy leadership is means that you're weak or you're not tough enough. No, empathy leaders attract loyal employees. They attract the talent. They attract people who are happy, who want to be and want to give you 100%, who want to work in the organization. That is empathy driven leadership. And the moment that goes away, employees can see it. They sense it. They know for a fact that that's not there, that you're not interested in their benefits, you're not interested in their development, and then they lose interest, right? So hopefully these are some of the things, that some things you can take away. If you're a leader, if you're an employee, you can take away some things from this video, where understanding and looking at aspects where we can help rather than look at the negative of situations is not going to work ever. If you try the tyrant way, you try to be bossy and demanding, it's not going to work. No one's going to listen. So, on that note, I come to the end of the video. As I always say, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like and follow for more. Have a great day. Bye.